So
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Markeith, and welcome to another episode of When Men Speak. We're going to be on part two of the importance of a true brotherhood. And of course, we got the co host, Chancey Haywood, aka Kurt, and then we got Gabe, aka Preacher Man. And we have another guest that we're gonna allow Chancey to introduce to you guys before we get started. Who we got on the set?
good evening, good evening, good evening, good people. So it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce this young fellow we got on tonight. This is my youngest son, Zachary Hayward, 20 years old, down in Richmond, man, studying culinary arts. True jack of all trades, man. This young fella, man, from the time he was 7 years old, been in the kitchen, in the garden, in the woods, hunting, fishing. I mean, painting, drawing, singing, playing instruments. The kid plays piano, keyboard, self-taught on the ukulele, viola. I mean, everything the young kid, young man puts his mind to, he excels at, and always has since he was a kid. So it is my pleasure, man, to introduce you guys tonight to my son Zachary. And Zachary, welcome to the platform. Glad to have you, son.
Thank you.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
okay, I'm Zachary, y'all. Like you said, I'm 20. I live in Richmond. I'm currently going to school for culinary arts, and I don't know. I don't
Give
know
us a
what.
little bit of your background, like how you was
Uh,
raised.
I grew up. Uh, I grew up in Georgia. I was raised pretty pretty country. Uh, with my dad being a pastor. We was in the church a lot. So I grew up around all of that, and I don't know.
Military brat.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
in the
military
military.
brat.
I'm like the military brat.
Yeah, that's a big part. A military brat. We moved around a lot.
Yeah.
I done lived in a few states, different countries. Um,
So real quick, so how was it like? How was it being raised in the church and your dad being a pastor and everything? Let's talk
um,
about let's be straight up honest from your perspective because this is called, just so everyone know, this is called the Zach experience. So it's all about him, his perspective, his past, his present, as well as his future. So hey, of course you know your dad is an open book. So go ahead and just be straight up with us. How was that for you?
growing up in the church, I got two different church experiences. When I was younger, we went to like a Baptist church. I always liked church though. As a kid, honestly. And then when I was older, we went to a non-denominational church, and I like that too. I think my experience with church is good for the most part. I never like personally, I never like experienced anything. I won't say nothing negative, but like nothing negative towards me personally at church.
All right, all right.
So I have a good experience with church.
In the church, you grew up in the church, but what about like your faith? Because I remember your dad telling me at a young age that you had a, a experience with the Holy Spirit yourself,
Oh yeah.
an encounter with God. Yeah, you like how this cat know this? Yeah,
My
I'm
relationship
telling
my relationship with God is great. I'm definitely I don't go to church. I can't remember the last time I've been to church, but I definitely believe in like having a relationship with God. Um, I forgot. It was a whole situation. That's a whole nother story. But it was just something that happened when I was younger. That like it was things were shown to me, and it was no other way or nobody else that could have shown me the things that I saw and like lined it up the way that it lined up. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just like showed me that it was God. Like I don't know, I just knew like it's kind of like I can't really explain it, but and then like I feel like since then, because I always believe in God, but that was like the first time like I experienced God like for myself and like knew who it was, like knew it was God.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, I mean, I think me and God have a pretty good relationship.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, my question to you is, okay, as we begin to talk about the Zach experience,
Hmm.
um, and we're gonna come full circle and basically um come full circle and talk about um how brotherhood itself assisted your dad in his experience concerning the Zach experience. But
Okay.
before we go there, we want to kind of walk through the Zach experience, your actual experience, right? So
Okay.
we know that you grew up in the church. We know that you, of course, you feel like there was certain pressures on you because your dad was a pastor?
Um, Me being who I am, no,
No.
because I don't want to say I didn't care. Like it had nothing to do with me, but that was his like journey for his life, and I didn't feel
Mhm.
like it affected mine in any way.
Oh, that's good. That's real good. Okay. So for a lot of people that don't know, um, man, it's kind of even hard to even go here, even for me. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why I say that is because we about to be real open about stuff. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And we all agreed to this, but a lot of people, it's a very sensitive topic to a lot of people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But this is why you wanted to come on the show, and this is why we wanted to talk about this.
Hmm.
So being that you have the faith, your dad pastor, but you're your own person, and God
Right.
created you to be who you are. Um, let's talk about your sexuality and how did you find out that you were gay? Like,
Okay.
was this something that you always knew? And what is it like being a gay male here in society?
Okay. I think I think well, I don't want to say I've always known I was gay, but I've always known I didn't have a word for it the whole
Mm-hmm.
time, but ever since I have memories back to being like 4 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
like I was gay then, like, and nothing's changed. But yeah, I feel like I've always knew. There was never a moment when I was just like, it just like dawned upon me. It's just always kind of been. So it's kind of weird. Like when I was little, I like I remember like having crushes on like boys and stuff. And then when I hit the age at like around seventh grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, I had girlfriends. Actually, not eighth grade, but I had a girlfriend seventh grade. I had a girlfriend ninth grade. So at a certain point, it kind of like toned down growing up because I feel like as a little kid, I was like very like I was very like feminine and like flamboyant as a little boy, but I feel like when I started getting older, I started becoming more self-aware of it because like it's just in the black community, it's like black men aren't allowed to be feminine and like and then I think even not even just men, I think like the black community like femininity is like is weird, like especially when it comes to black men and how they feel about femininity. So I think I started becoming more like self-aware of it and trying to like tone it down. And then as I got older, I kind of just like stopped caring. Like, and I was like, I got to a point where I was like, I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna live my life for anyone else or how they feel about it. But sorry, ask the second part of the question again.
All right, so this is what I want to do real quick. You said one thing you said was you knew at 4 years old.
Hmm.
Looking back, you knew at 4 years old. So what was happening at 4 for you to be able to identify that? Okay, was it the crush on boys? Was it just part of who you were, like, because you was talking about you was being feminine even at a young age.
Hmm.
What caused this femininity? Is it that the way your mother moved attracted you more than the way your dad moved? Like, see what I'm saying? How does this
Okay.
begin to develop as you look at that?
Okay. Definitely the way my mother moved attracted me more than the way my dad moved. Like the the way the way like she would get her hair done and like the nails and all that. Like I've always been interested in those kind of things. Like even even now, like women's fashion will always interest me more than men's. And that's just, I don't know, this has always been a thing. Like, and to, it's like an attraction, but it's not an attraction. It's like an admiration of it, if that makes sense. And I
Mhm.
think that started at a young age. But, and I don't think, like, it's not due to, like, him not being there because me and my dad spent more time together than me and my mom did growing up. So I got both sides of it. So I think it's just like that one attracts, like that side attracts me more, if that makes sense.
Okay, so so that's how you begin to move and flow in that manner in more of femininity because that's what you was more attracted to,
Right.
right? Okay. And then from that point, because there's one thing as for the feminine aspect. So what about the attraction to boys? Did that just happen? Because I know you had female, what I'm saying, around you at the time. Um, so can you kind of explain that?
Okay. Attraction to boys. Um. Yeah. It's just. I remember before I had a crush. Well, I wouldn't call it a crush, but like just curiosity towards other boys that I didn't have towards girls. Like girls, I saw them as my friends, and like the boys were like. Even growing up, I've always had more. Like in school, I've always had more girlfriends. I never really got along with. Well, I get along with certain guys, but they have to be a certain kind of guy that can like that's secure enough in themselves to like be able to be around someone like me. But
Mm,
and in in high school and middle school, that's rare for a guy to be that secure. So I kind of always just been around girls, and I've always seen them as friends. And there's just never in like been any kind of like sexual attraction. Like I've definitely have like had like good like platonic relationships with women, but like when it comes to sexual attraction, it's just always been towards men. Like I mean, I won't say always. Like I feel like me, like even the word like even you said I was gay. Like I don't even like to use that term because I find myself to be more like fluid in like who I am. Like I kind of flow between my feminine and my masculine energy. And it's kind of always been that way. It's just like, it's kind of like how I feel on the day sometimes.
Okay. So what is that based on though? I guess my question is like, is that based on because all right, we talk about energy and we talk and a lot of people, a lot of our viewers refer to it as spirits, whatever.
Hmm.
So all of that is together to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So or we're saying like based upon a certain because anybody can walk in a room and have a certain energy to where everyone is attracted to them, whether it's a male or female. It
Right.
can be an attraction of or energy of just admiration of positivity, right? Or it can be you can know when a male or a female coming in, they got this strong sexual energy that
Hmm.
comes in. So I guess my question to you is like I guess it depends on the energy that you connect to, whether it's male or female, right?
Right.
And based upon um, and it's not always necessarily based upon your preference either, right?
Right. Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
yeah, okay, so I got it. So, all right, now as we walk through this, like you coming out, like number one, you was a kid and you was attracted to the femininity. You begin to flow in that because you talked about how other kids viewed you, how they begin to view you in high school. So making the transition because you know scripturally, you already know how your dad feel just like everyone else feel. How did you get to the point to where you like, Dad, this what it is?
Okay.
Cause I'm and what age were you at that time? And what led up to you doing that?
I think I was 15 or 16. Yeah, I was 15 or 16, and I will never forget this day. Like, I remember it like word by word. So he picked me up from a football game, and I had on like a gold tank top and some gold shorts. And we pulled up in the garage, and when we got home, and he said, he was like, I got a question because what you telling me and what you showing me aren't adding up, like matching up. And he was like, are you gay? And I said, I don't know. And then he started saying something about like, so I'm confused or something. And then when he said that, I was like, wait, no, I'm gay. Because I was like, you're not finna call me confused. Because I was like, I knew I wasn't confused. And I knew exactly what I was. But it was just like, I didn't want to deal with it. Like, just because, like, it's one thing to be like, that person, like, because black families, they'll know you're gay and they'll deny until you come out, like, but everybody know, but then nobody say nothing, like. And I kind of was shocked that like I even kind of had to like come out because I feel like it was obvious, but I might feel like that now because of how I am now, but it hasn't always been like that, and I have to sometimes like think back, like I was like in the closet because I like when I got older, I like kind of played the masculine card. Like I never dressed too like out there and like did too much.
Mm.
But
So go ahead, keep going.
so after that conversation, so we ended up like having a whole conversation, and then he told my mom, and then I remember we all had a conversation in like the living room, and then my mom was crying, and like it was so devastating to me because it was just like they truly like I just didn't feel understood. Like, and a lot, like, it's already hard, like, out in the world, and just like whether it's school, whatever, it's just like, to you want to be understood by like your people, you know what I mean? Like, if anything, if nothing. So that was kind of rough. Like, at first it was really rough, and then we would make progress, and because I knew, like, I could tell my parents saw that, like, it hurt me also, like, by how they were like reacting. So I think they wanted to, like, I think like they came to the point where it was like, it's one or the other. Like, you can either like stand in your ways and like how you feel about it, or you can like love your child like unconditionally, like, and you can say you love your kid regardless, but like actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. Like, and so I think they just came to a point where like they had to just like, and I think I even said like, um I think I even said like, they get, I even like, I gave like an ultimatum, because like, I remember during the whole time of me coming out, I was so like angry and like rebellious towards my parents. And I literally said, I was like, well, like, it's either a relationship with me, or you can feel how you feel. Like, and I kind of had to get them to understand that it wasn't a choice. Like, sure, everything is a choice, and to go date a guy is a choice, and to have sex with a guy is a choice, but you don't choose who you're attracted to, and you don't choose, like, I had to basically just like get them to like understand, like, this is me, and like, it's not changing. And like, the more and more you try to like talk me out of it, or like, it's just like, it would just all make it worse. It would make, they just had to understand it wasn't a choice, and it was just who I was.
Okay. So with the choice thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So or did they come with you? Did your parents come with you with scripture saying, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? This is what God. This is what our foundation is on. This is what God says. Basically, a male and a female not supposed to be attracted to the same sex." Did they come at you and from a biblical perspective?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, because it was just like, that's what they were raised on, and
Right.
like, that's what they were taught wrong from, like, that's what they were taught was wrong and was right. And I think a lot of my, like, a big part of my parents' like negative outlook on it was the whole like HIV epidemic, and that was a lot of it. They just like, and then we came to an understanding. Well, it wasn't an understanding, but this was the first step. They were like, "Well, we still love you, but we just don't agree with
Hmm.
your choice of like lifestyle." And like, to me, that's not enough. Like, that was not enough for me. Like, because it's like, it's not something I chose. It's like, and I don't know. It's just like, that's not, you can't support me and also say you don't agree with me. Like, I didn't get that part, and I felt like, as the people that birthed me, like, I don't know, like, that was like a crazy statement.
So for you, so it sounds like to me, because I hear people say, to some people, I agree that the homosexual lifestyle or the fluency lifestyle, whatever we want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe that for some people it is a choice, right?
Okay.
Um, and I know this actually not just what I believe, it's a fact. And I also know that some people feel as though that they were born that way, right?
Okay.
Um, and then some people are actually confused because um they was violated and it felt good to them. They never experienced that before. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? And so they find themselves confused with, hey, I mean, it felt good, You see what I'm saying? And I
Right.
thought I was this way, but then now I was just violated, and my innocence was taken in that regard. So, make a long story short, so it sounds like to me you feel as though the people that birthed you don't realize, hey, I was born this way. I didn't choose this for myself. That's what it
Right.
sounds like you're saying.
Right.
So is that what you tried to relate to them?
Yeah. I told them I said it wasn't a choice. Like that was my biggest like thing the whole time.
Okay.
Like whenever we would talk about it, I would always just try to get across the point that it wasn't a choice,
Hmm.
and it was just hard for them to understand that because everything's a choice. But I didn't.
Gabe, you was
Yeah.
about to say something?
Yeah. I just want to ask Zach first. Zach, I know your dad, and just the first time meeting you, awesome. For you to even be willing to share your story. But I had an interesting thing in college where I had a friend that was homosexual, and you said something that kind of perked. But because my personality always been, I accept everybody, right? So I was the one he came out to, and I was like, man, I knew I knew you were like that. It was like I just felt comfortable. So, but I never really asked him, whether it was a process, and that's what I was going to get us at. Were you, um, did you think, or was it your dad that broached the conversation? Did you like, okay, I need to plan to have this conversation, or something in your dad that kind of brought the conversation up?
Like of me coming out.
Yes.
Um, he kind of brought it up. Um, he brought it up. If my dad wouldn't have brought it up, I don't think I would have brought it up. Um, I would have just. I don't believe in coming out like as a person. I don't believe gay people should have to make an announcement that they're gay. I think they should move how they move, and the people who love them should accept them for it. You know what I mean? And I don't think because straight people don't have to say they're straight. And if if I feel that I'm born this way, and if you're born like if straight people are born the way they're born, and if I feel I'm born the way I was, why does one of us have to come out and the other doesn't? And yeah, that's how I feel. But yeah, he brought it up. But
Okay.
So oh, go ahead, Chance. All right, so you were saying before he brought it up, he was like, I need to ask you this question because apparently he was like, you telling me one thing, but I'm seeing another. So what was the contradicting diction that you were saying to him that he was seeing something different to cause him to bring that up?
okay, I remember. Um, so the boy I'm dating now, I was dating the same boy when I was 15, 16, and we were in the car outside the community center in my neighborhood, and we were just talking, and my parents like pulled up next to us in the car, and I like rolled down the window. I was like, what's up? Like it was just awkward. Like they was like looking at me, I'm looking at them. So I was like, we just talking. Like what's going on? Because we literally was just talking. So
Right.
and then I went back to the house, and I remember my mom was texting me, "Are you gay? Are you gay?" And I was just like, "Whoa!" Like because I'm in the car with another boy, I'm gay. So um, yeah, that's what. And I was like, "No, like I'm not gay." Like because I just didn't, like I said, I just didn't feel like dealing with it. Like all that, it was just too much for me. So I was just like, "No, I don't got time for this right now," and I just said no. But then also, I started becoming more comfortable with myself at the same time, so it started showing more. So I think that's where the contradiction came from.
Hmm. Okay. Thank
I
you,
got a
Chance.
question for Chancey. So, was it like coincidence that you guys rolled up on him, or walk us through how you guys rolled up on him, if you don't mind? Yeah.
It's just like you said. The neighborhood we lived in, you had to pass by the community center to get to the house. So we saw. I don't know if they were in Zach's car, they were in Q's car, but we saw the car and we knew, immediately recognized, and we pulled up. Because like you said, from he's right about 4 years old. There were mannerisms. We saw him. You know what I mean? And my thing was, I was mostly raised by a woman myself. Although my dad was there, but my mom was like the key figure in my life who raised me. She was the one. I was always at the beauty shop. I was always with the women in their conversations. I was always around, but I was a dude. I might, like he say, the admiration and the attraction piece. I can so relate to that. I admired them, you know what I'm saying, in their beauty. I admired their hair. I used to watch some of the women's hair when they would come to the shop, but it was in for me, it was in a sexual way. Like I like the way their shape was. I like the different body types and all that kind of stuff. So I can totally relate to that. So when I saw him as a little kid, I would I say in my mind, I'm like, it's something he'll grow out of. Like all some kids just go through that phase in life. You know what I'm saying? Because I went through it. They used to call me gay and thought I like guys because I was always around women, and I'm pretty sure I probably had mannerisms or something. So yeah, we pulled up, man, cause like you say, I was seeing stuff and it wasn't adding up. Like at that point in time, I knew, but I wanted him to tell me. I wanted him to tell me what it was. So that day when I picked him up and he had them gold shorts on and that gold tank top, I was like, bro, we gotta talk. What's going on? You gotta tell
too
me
much
something.
go.
Yeah, cause this ain't one. Hey, this math ain't math. You gotta talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Zach, keep your face in the camera for us, man.
Okay.
So basically, you saying that that what his attire, what he was wearing, and then you seeing him in the car with old boy, and then a couple other things leading up to that made you was just waiting for him to tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Mm, okay, so I guess we go into the aspect of like, so how did you process this after he told you this? Of course, we went through the whole thing because I remember, you know what I'm saying. Like me and you was on the phone for hours at when all this first happened. We would talk often. We would be on the phone for hours, and one of the things that we walked through was him. I remember you was like, man, Zach telling me he believed he was born like this, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the conversations, and like I said, this is where we're gonna go to where some of the people that know me probably finna say, wonder if I'm even saved or not and believe in God. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, let's walk through that process. Like you being told this, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man. So when he told me, and it's funny because when I think back on it now and just hearing him, walk it out and walk through it, um, what got me the most, man, that really it just hit me the day while he was talking. What got me the most was me and Zach spent so much time together as a kid. Like he was like my mini me. Like he was with me 24/7. And so Zach was the child for me. So my oldest boy, CJ Jr., uh, when Junior came along, I was like smack dab in the middle of the military. Back and forth to Iraq, deployments, in and out of the house, coming and going, coming and going. And I wasn't consistently there for CJ. But when Zach came, bro, he was like the child. I say, I'm gonna right all the wrongs with my previous son. I'm gonna beat up him every step. I'm going to the school. I'm going to practices. I'm going to games. I ain't missing nothing. And he is my witness standing here. I ain't missed nothing. I'm talking about I was at the school more than the mamas was at the school. Huh? I was in there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this dude, like, I'm gonna pass on everything. I mean, he was my shadow, man. And now hearing him talk today, what hurt me the most, it wasn't even about him coming out. What hurt me the most was that all his time was spent with me. But he said the adoration for his mom and that the feminine side and all that. And I'm like, but you spent all your time with me. Just just hearing him say that just a while ago, I was like, wow. And so that hit me hard, man. So I think the biblical and the scripture response and the religious response that I gave him, I think that was out of reaction because that's what's in me. As a preacher, that's the word is in you. So of course you're gonna respond with that. You know what I'm saying? That's how you're gonna respond. But just now, it just dawned on me what hurt me the most. I just had this revelation just now, listening to him. But yeah, man. So of course I threw the Bible at him. Hey, what you was born with? You was born swinging up. You were born to do. You can't change like God made you. So that was my response when he told me, and me and him we was knucking. At first, we was bucking. He bucking, I'm bucking. Like, no, I ain't accepting that. I ain't my mom. And then as my wife and I, began to talk about it more, and like you said, we had conversations more and more about it, and I had to seek God, man. I was like, man, God, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't even know what to, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to even respond, and just like when I told you about the situation with my wife, man, we went through, um, and he just said, with loving kindness have I drawn thee, and he's my son. So that supersedes any and every decision, choice, lifestyle, whatever it is he can do that I disagree with or that I don't approve of, whether it's speeding, lying, cheating, or whatever. He my son, and that cannot change. His actions can't change my love for him, good, bad, or indifferent, just like God does us. It'll never change. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, he's my son. Can't nothing change that. So once I got clear with that for myself, everything changed for me. So it's like anything else, man. I don't have to agree with everything that you do. I don't have to agree with everything that you say. I don't have to agree with every decision you make. But that does not change the fact that you my son. I love you in spite of all of that and any of that. So yeah, man. So that's how it happened, back then, and it was hard for me at first, man. I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't accept it. I couldn't, man. I was messed up. I mean, I was calling you, man, and you, Chap, and little dude Evans, and my pastor back in Georgia. I was calling everybody, man. I need some help. I was struggling.
So remember one of the things that we had a conversation about that I didn't even realize, like, um that I started to really think deep about certain things, especially when he came and he told you, he was like, Dad, I was born this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you was basically saying basically what you just said, what you told him. What tools did the Lord give you? You know what I'm saying? You supposed
Yeah.
to use these tools for XYZ.
Yeah.
And then I was talking from a scientific perspective. I started talking about the chromosomes and
Right.
how we made of how God, even though we may not be able to, because God is all seeing and all knowing. We only know a portion of God and what, you know what I'm saying, how he created, you know what I'm saying, certain things, us, you know what I'm saying, and even the earth, you know what I mean, and everything that evolves around us. We don't have a full understanding of all of that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we do understand what scripture says. However, we're made of spirits. You know what I mean? We have a soul, you know, and just like, and we talked about the energies and all those things. But let's think about it takes a man and a woman to create something, right? So Zach created from a man as well as a woman. So both of these things are intertwined. So who's to say just because he's created with the male tools in the male body that his soul, certain things that was transferred into him from the feminine aspect, who's to say that he can't be born with that type of energy,
Mhm.
whether he asked for it or not? Because we do say, no, you ain't born like that. But who are we to know?
No.
We didn't breathe breath and life into him. We didn't breathe a soul into him. We do know from a human perspective that it takes a male and a female, two different souls, a
Right.
feminine soul and a masculine soul, to create it. See what I'm saying? So who are we to know when, especially when we hear people say stuff like, I mean, think about Dunn McClurkin.
Yeah.
He was gay. See what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But
Mhm.
who are we to say, when we hear people that live this lifestyle say, I feel like a female trapped in a male body.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? We can never, just because we can't identify with that struggle doesn't mean that there's not an internal struggle. All of us have some type of internal struggle
Right.
within us. You see what I'm saying? That was passed down to us. You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? And so that's why we just talked about, you have people that say they was born that way. You also have people that's just what they choose to do because that's what they like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Physically and sexually. And then you also
People
have
got
those people
assaulted. Yeah.
that was assaulted, that's
Yeah.
confused by it. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And don't know which way to go because of the trauma.
Yeah.
So every situation and every person is different.
But I
What
think
we what Go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No. Go ahead, bro.
No. All I'm gonna say is like it's interesting that God got Chancey to that because anybody that knows me, when it comes to this topic of sexuality, that's always my point. Love. Like Markeith is making this argument. I cannot understand everything because God thought is higher than mine. But one thing he did tell me to do is to love people because I have misgivings all the time that the Holy Father doesn't hold against me. And I think sometime in church, I'll bring it there. It's easy for a church to look at sexuality as the biggest sin when there's other sin. And that's always been my issue. Love them as God loves all of us. And I just when Chancey said that, that's what my friend in college came out to me. I've always been because I've been the Hebrew word is hiktim. Hiktim in your family is the worthless one,
Outcast,
outcast,
black sheep.
black sheep. That's who I always been in my family, the hiktim. So like David, they're like to Marquis' point, there are things sexually I do with like pornography and stuff that is tied to hiktim, what I was as a child. So I give people grace because we all have issues. It's easy for the church to point out one sin because they feel comfortable with it, and I always, I'm from Jersey, so I pointed back. I'm like, okay, you're talking about that, but you don't want to talk about abortion, you won't hip on abortion, but we won't talk about racism. They pick and choose. But God is not like that, He just called us to love. And I just want to make that point. It was so profound when Chancey said that, because that's always been my desire for the world. Just love. God will handle the rest. We don't understand. I mean, we're making all this argument, like Markeith said, his thought is higher than mine. I just know what's in his book. It's proof. But one thing above all, the Holy God says two things: love God and love each other like you love yourself. So, Chancey, I applaud you that coming to that conclusion. First of all, as a man of faith, to see God and for to use godly wisdom, because I think Zach's story, my prayer is to, that's all the discussion argument. God taught us how just love, love and don't judge.
Hey Zach, I got a question. What are your thoughts on what you thinking right now based upon what your dad said and what, I know you got some thoughts and you're thinking something.
Um. Hmm. Oh, I wanted to. Somebody said something about like woman trapped in a man's body, man trapped in a woman's body, something like that. Okay, touching on that. Um. So like, I don't. I think I see gender and sexuality as a spectrum. Like, I think there's a like, it's a spectrum, and you like people fall like on different places on the spectrum. Um, and that's why I say I'm fluid, because I can't sit here and say that um in 5 years I might not be attracted to this type of person, because me myself might grow and change. And like right lately I've been more like expressive of my femininity, like, and I've been doing it in a way that's like real out there, like, and I think part of why I do that right now, it's kind of a way of like me, now that I'm at the age where I can like do what I want to do. I think I'm doing all the things I've always wanted to do, but never had the courage, or just like had the courage to do it. Like to step on the street presenting femme, it like takes a lot of courage, because even though it's 2023, every single person that walk past you on the street is gonna look at you up and down, just because it's not something people see a lot in real life. So I kind of go to the extreme, because at this point where I'm at right now, I don't really care, because one, this life is too short for me to not express myself how I want. And I'm kind of do it for like the little kid part of me that always wanted to do it and always like those things. So now that I can, I do. And I kind of just I really present myself however I feel on the day. Like one day I could have long hair and a mini skirt and fur boots on, and the next day I'm gonna have on some Jordans and some jeans and my hair like this. But and it's like both of those people are authentic, but it's just different ways of me expressing myself.
So how is that? Like that the freedom of that expression, is that healing for you now
It's so
based
healing,
upon your okay.
so healing. Like it, I don't think anything brings me more happiness right now. But like when I get to like get dressed up and go out, it's like, cause sometimes when I'm in the world looking like a boy, it's like kind of like you're invisible. But when I'm out and I'm femme presenting, it's like I'm no longer invisible. Like for example, I went to New York for my birthday this year, and I had a 28 inch wig, like, and it was like long, and so I was like real femme presenting. So, and it was my first time, like, it was my first time, but for the first time, like, I kind of like I was out in mini skirts, all kind of stuff, and it was just because like that's kind of what I always wanted to do, like, and that brings me so much happiness, like, and I don't know, like, it just makes me so happy. I can't explain it. Like, it's just so like I feel so fulfilled, like, and I feel so pleased with the way I look. Rather than like when I dress like a boy, it's kind of like, like it's all right, like I look cool, like whatever. But And the other way, I'm more confident in it. It kind of brings out a whole different person in me. Like I become way more confident, way less awkward. I don't know. I don't know. It literally like lights a like spark in me. And so that's why I kind of, and I feel like that's what life is about. Like if something makes you feel like that, like why would you not do it? Like, so I feel like that's like right for me. And it just feels right. Like it just feels right for me.
See, it's an expression of your authentic self. That's just
Yes.
who you are. So if you're comfortable in that. So
Right.
hey, Chancey, I got a question though. Before we get ready to close and go to questions. So how, the brotherhood aspect, how did that help you, get through this process with the brethren that you had that you constantly was on the phone with? Of course, you seeking God, everyone seeking God in reference to um, the Zach experience.
Um, I think everybody should have an inner circle, for the lack of a better term, um, because when you're going through something or when you're experiencing something, if you don't have people in your life to help you get out of your own head, you'll spiral out of control sometimes. You'll lose yourself, and before you know it, months have passed by and you still stuck in this place. And so the brotherhood that I had, they helped me. You guys helped me to not lose myself in a moment that could have, one, cost me my relationship with my son, uh, and really driven a wedge between he and I. But to help me stay, it helped me stay focused on what was important in the midst of all of that, and that was the love between my son and I. Because when I look back on this thing now, man, and I look at the state of our world, there's so many um, in the LGBTQ plus community that don't have family that love them. They turn their backs on them. They disown them. They don't treat them right. They ostracize them from the family at large. And we all know that when you're living that lifestyle, man, some people just hate on you just to hate on you. Like, I don't even care who you are. I don't know. I just hate you without even knowing who you are, man. So I'm not even trying to get to know you as a person. I could care less. To me, you're less than a person. And so that's the one thing now that keeps me up at night about my son, is I know that there are folks out there who hate him just because of who he is. I hate him. Don't even know him, but they hate him. It has no idea the heart that this man has, and the gifting that he has inside of him, but they hate him because of what he looks like, on a certain day. So that's what worries me the most now. But the brotherhood was important to me, man, because if it hadn't been for you guys, man, I could have very likely lost my son.
Oh man, I just remember when it was actually going in that direction.
Yeah,
Whoo,
it was.
man, Zach
It
was
was,
leaving the
man.
house, everything, man. I
Yeah,
remember that jump. Boy,
it
we were
was.
praying about that, boy.
Yeah, I
I
kicked him out
remember
the
about that.
house.
I remember, and
Yeah,
I
man, that
remember,
thing, boy, I cried every day, boy.
yeah, I remember
I
just
ran
the
away.
conversation,
Huh?
cause
You
huh?
talking about when I ran away?
Yeah, yeah. That joker ran away, man.
Oh my goodness.
He like, hey, if I can't be me, I'm out of here. I said, all right, don't let the doorknob hit you.
Yeah.
How long you stayed gone, Zach?
Like 3 days.
Yeah, man.
Three
It
days
turned.
was long enough.
Hey, my wife was like, Chance, you better get my baby back. You better get my
Exactly.
baby back.
That's what I
You
said.
better get my baby back. I don't care what you gotta do. You better get my baby back. Man, listen, that thing was rough, man. Cause You know, and it's so important. I know we got to go with questions, man, but because of how we're raised, man, the traditional way that we came up, Zach and my other son, CJ, and my daughter too, they helped me to understand that each child is different and you can't raise every child the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because what you end up doing is pushing them away and you
Mm-hmm.
push them to the world. You know, so I'm glad now that the rehab relationship that we have, so that even in the midst of uh his life down there and us being up here, he knows that I don't care what it is, what you can call home. You can come home. Like you got some folk that love you and will cross the Atlantic for you. So having somebody in your life, man, that you know loves you unconditionally and that you can call on at any given time, day or night, is critical, man. It's critical to kids and their parents.
Yeah.
Agreed. Hey, Miss Ingram, let's go to questions real quick. We got like 4 minutes. What questions we got?
Okay, greetings and good evening. Let's see. Let me see.
Hold on. I
Not a
got
lot of
one real quick.
questions, but um, a lot of statements.
As a parent, did you feel like you had failed at parenting initially when he told you this, Chancey?
Heck yeah, of course I
Mm.
did. Yep. I was like, man, I kept asking him, I said, man, what did I go wrong? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, man, I tried to be there, I tried to be present, I tried to teach him everything, to raise him up right, keep him in the church. What did I do wrong? And I finally came to the realization that, I didn't do nothing wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, everybody has their own path,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like Zach said, he answered you earlier when he said when you asked him about me being a preacher, how did that affect him or his life? And he was like, not at all, because that was his calling, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the direction God had him on, not me. So I didn't feel threatened by that.
So the next question is, so would you debunk the notion that individuals are born like this? Would you debunk that now?
Me?
Any uh
Yeah, the
I mean,
question,
I know who was the question for?
it was directed to Zachary.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think it depends on the person, but I mean, I think it depends on the person. I can say I was, but at the same time, who's to say? And then I feel like you can't say anyone wasn't born like that, like because we're not like sexual beings as 3 and 2 year